And we'd like to welcome everybody to what is actually going to be some really tremendously insightful, just ignorant gibberish regarding football and maybe a few other things not football on week 2. Cowboys Ride for Free picks from Joe's. With me tonight, so we got it together this week. My real job did not interfere. We've got Pokelahoma, obviously, who got on here with us last year, and back from the football grave. Just when you thought you weren't going to get him anymore, I know one listener out there who is beside herself right now. Okay, we have the venerable King, the beginner of all things, picks from Joe's. King, thanks for hopping back on with us.
Not a problem. Yeah. One more season.
One more season. We'll survive another season here. Now, I just had there's 2 things that we have to address. Number 1, I've got 2 people on here who obviously have decided that shaving is bullshit.
Shaving is bullshit, and so are pants.
There we go.
Don't tempt me to
right,
stand
well,
up.
yeah, let's keep that view, that camera pointed up there.
That's what I tell you here.
And second thing, I can't let this go anymore. I tweeted it out earlier tonight. I'm currently in a hotel room. You guys have seen this before. I'm on the road, and I'm in South Central rural Illinois. What the hell is wrong with you people?
What did you do wrong?
Texas Roadhouse. It's we know Texas Roadhouse restaurant.
I think they have one in Stillwater still.
People, you don't offer brown or white gravy with the chicken fried steak.
They gave you a choice?
I ordered it, and the first question out of this gal's mouth, well, would you like brown gravy or white gravy with that?
Does the guy from Bring on the Cats know about you? I think he likes the brown gravy on his chicken fried steak.
Yeah,
John.
Well, then he's not a human being.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sorry. It's
fair.
I get the whole country fried steak thing because we live in a world of stupidity where there are people who can't figure out that chicken fried doesn't mean you're eating chicken. It just means you have a steak that's fried like chicken. So
right.
We have idiots floating around in the world, and we don't want to discriminate against the idiots. So we want you to be able to enjoy chicken fried steak, okay? We call it country fried steak. All right, I can deal with that. I'm all for, don't want to discriminate, give everybody an opportunity to enjoy it. But you better effing have white gravy on it, or if I see it, I may dump it in your lap. All right, that's the end of it. I can't deal with it. You can't be a country friggin' food restaurant if you offer brown effing gravy with chicken or country fried steak. All right, please. And I shouldn't have to tell you to. Would you put a little gravy on my mashed potatoes?
Whoa, are you coming on me? That's weird.
Gravy is not a frigging, rationed commodity. This isn't like oil from the Middle East or something, or whatever. They should bring the plate. I ought to have to take my fork and poke around in there to find my food.
Okay.
Stop rationing that shit.
But you're still alive.
Dump that crap on the plate and let me find it. And I don't want to have to ask any questions. So anybody out there running a country restaurant, I'm free for consultation on that if you need it. So that's I had to get that crap off my chest. That brown gravy crap pisses me off. So anyway, that's a little bit of the stupid gibberish. Week 2 college football. Week 1, what, Pokelahoma, what shocked you the most from week 1? Anything?
Well, let me ask you guys a question. What does last week's picks from Joe's and OU's opening weekend have in common?
Disasters?
Yeah, they were both an abortion.
Both an abortion. There There you go.
I was really amazed by the play calling, really, just on offense as much as anything. You know, getting kick six happens, but the strength of your team is those two running backs, and to only run them 12 times total is really astonishing, especially against a team that's not Power 5, even though maybe they should be.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked that after that first drive, they just didn't keep just jamming.
They had no interest. I don't know why you'd run Baker Mayfield that many times. Getting him clipped seems like putting him out there and getting him clipped seems like a season ender to me. That was probably the most shocking thing to me, as bad as they were.
King, what was your most shocking thing from last week?
The OU thing didn't really surprise me. It's the first game of the year. It's Houston's Super Bowl. That's a rough first out. I was surprised. I probably got a tie here. One is that Texas found an offense for the first time in a decade.
Yep.
Two was watching Ole Miss choke that game away. Like, that was phenomenal. They didn't even come back out at halftime. That was it. We had our half boys. Let's go get shit faced. I enjoyed that.
I thought the whole Twitter was a lot of fun about the tape and stuff. You know, oh, the check hasn't going there. Oh, the check there. The check hasn't that was pretty good. Yeah, that second, I couldn't believe that. I can't remember what I was doing. I wasn't paying attention. I was somewhere where I couldn't watch it. I was traveling. I was traveling Monday night, so I'm on the plane. I'm just surfing Twitter to see the updates, and I can't remember what happened. I think it was we were descending into Chicago, and when I stopped getting the tweets, you know, they'd gone into half, and Florida State just scored right at the end, and you know they were still way behind. By the time we landed and I got off the plane, Florida State was ahead. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I'd have to say the most shocking thing to me is, I'd say, okay, so a little bit of a tie like you, King. I was really shocked at Mason Rudolph's mobility in the OSU game. You know, he looked pretty nimble for, you know, a big guy. I was kind of surprised there. But I frankly was shocked that KU blew out whoever the hell it was they played. That was, I never expected that. I figured, maybe they could win by a couple touchdowns or something. Never imagined they'd absolutely blow them out. So
Robert went 1-10 last year in FCS.
Yeah. So that must be, that's Savannah State bad, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so talking about getting into the games a little bit this week, and we'll have a couple of little tangent conversations here as we go along. Out of the gate, the early game is Oklahoma State, so we'll save them to the end. So the next game in line is 2 o'clock game, BS game. West Virginia is hosting Youngstown State, 2 o'clock Eastern. 546 tickets available on StubHub, starting at $44. There's no line listed right now on ESPN. I'm sure you can find a line somewhere. Do we care about this game at all?
I mean, West Virginia's got Wickline this year. I don't know. They ran for 5 yards a carry. Youngstown ran for almost 400 last game. West Virginia's still going to win. So I'm not sure what else to say, really.
Yeah. King, or the Mountaineers going to earn it?
What was that? Are we still suing Wickline? That's all I got on this one. Did we drop that?
I think he settled on that one. He's a much better fit in West Virginia, let me tell you, than he ever in Texas. He's a good fit at West Virginia.
Yeah, that actually could be I forgot he went there. That actually could be a pretty interesting interesting fit there. Next game, 2:30 game. All right, this has some interest. You have Ohio, University of Ohio, at Kansas, 2:30 Eastern. Kansas laying 2.5 points at home. They're not even getting the home field, 3 points. Over-unders 59.5. 157 tickets left on StubHub, starting at $27. That's a pretty tight Vegas line for KU hosting an Ohio team that's 0-1. I don't know who they lost to, but that's kind of curious. I don't know there. Are we hopeful at all, King, that actually the Jayhawks could win a couple of non-conference games here? Are we rooting for them, or do we not give a shit?
I just looked it up. Ohio played Texas State. They went to 3 overtimes, scored 54 points, which means they'll score about 44 on Kansas, which means that should be enough to get the W.
Oh, Jayhawks. King says Jayhawks going in the tank.
When you storm your field after beating Rhode Island, that's it. Pack it in. Quit. Go home. It's over.
Did that actually happen? I heard some.
Did you see the pictures?
No, didn't see the pictures.
Yeah. It happened.
I think I saw somebody say something on Twitter, and I was like, that can't be serious.
Yeah,
no.
All 37 students at the game stormed the field.
It happened, and the PA guy asked them to get off the field because they were embarrassing the program.
Oh, my God.
No, his quote was phenomenal. He said, "It's a new era in Kansas football, an era in which you should expect to win." And I was like, when did this happen? When did this era change?
When did we flip that switch? I do actually like David Beatty, and I'm optimistic in the long-term future of Kansas, but not right now. I do think they have a good coach. They don't quit when they have every reason to, and sometimes that's all you can get out of a bad group of football players.
Well, I think given the fact that they did actually storm the field after beating Rhode Island, then
yeah.
I think the football gods will rectify that by bringing a home loss this week for KU. So,
you guys want to hear an interesting Kansas stat real quick?
All right, there we go.
This Saturday, they're going for their first 2-game winning streak since 2011, with victories over McNeese State and Northern Illinois.
Okay, you want to hear another good stat about Kansas football? I looked at their starting right guard. He's a freshman. He's 6'4", and I have 15 pounds on him.
Oh yeah.
God.
He's 250.
Wow.
Hey, he's just got a pass block. He's not. Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic here.
All right, so let's see what we got here. The next, here's the thing. You two can talk about this next game, but as far as I'm concerned, this next game doesn't exist because this next game shouldn't even be played as far as I'm concerned. SMU at Waco. 3:30 Saturday afternoon. Baylor's laying 31.5, over under 76. There are over 2,000 tickets available on StubHub starting at $12, and I wouldn't go there if you paid me money. So you all have fun with this because as far as I'm concerned, Baylor is persona non grata. They don't matter. Okay, there you go. We're not even going to grace them with any kind of conversation here. And we got Mike. You muted yourself. There you are. You're back. He muted himself probably just so he wouldn't say anything bad about the game that we really don't care about and we're not worried about it because it shouldn't even be happening. Skip over to Arkansas at TCU. I'd say probably easily the marquee game of the Big 12 this week. 7 o'clock Eastern Saturday night. TCU is laying 7.5. The over-under is 58.5. That seems like kind of a big line to me. What do you think, Mike?
I think I'd take the over, but I don't know about the 7.5. TCU kind of had some first game jitters last week. I think it was 59-41, but South Dakota State's pretty good. I hate to say they beat Kansas as justification, but I think they went 9-3 last year, so including a win over Kansas. I think Arkansas last week was 21-20 over Louisiana Tech, something like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell this early in the season. It's going to be different. One of those things where it's different styles. Arkansas is going to run the ball. TCU is going to try to throw it all the time. I'll take TCU.
What do you think, King?
Oh, as much as I'd enjoy getting a win over a SEC powerhouse, I really don't. It's like what somebody was saying. Are they bad because they struggled, or is it just a first game against an opponent they didn't care about? But I tend to think they've lost so much on defense that I think Arkansas is going to be able to run on them.
That secondary was bad last week.
I just think that they're going to just play clock control. Yeah, it's boring football, but it's effective. So if they rush for 175, 200 yards, somewhere in there, I think that'll be enough to knock them off. So I'm going to go with Arkansas.
All right.
I just think that's a tough line. I mean, that's a lot of points in a deal where TCU obviously struggled with a FCS team at home.
Their secondary was bad last week. They got blown up.
Yeah, and Arkansas can run the ball.
Yep.
So that just, with the over-under a little bit, that's a little lowish. 7 points feels like a lot. So I think TCU win the game, but I feel like that's going to be like a field goal or touchdown at most, not 7.5. So let's jump over to the Gooners. See if they can rebound. Their line this week, they are hosting Louisiana Monroe, 7 o'clock Eastern, Saturday night. Don't even know how many. I didn't write it down. How many tickets were that game? 1,300 tickets available, starting at $27 on StubHub. OU is laying 46.5 points. The over/under is 65.5. So, I mean, this is interesting. If the over/under is 65.5, you're expecting OU to win by 46. All right. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm having a hard time kind of marrying that math up. But I mean, I gotta believe they're going to come out, King. I gotta believe they'll come out this week and just blow Louisiana Monroe out of the stadium, I would imagine.
If they win by less than, we'll call it 46.5, then they got problems. They should be pissed off. The team should be fired up. I don't care that you have Ohio State coming up next week. You look like crap in the second half. So this is your get-right game. You come out, you stomp an absolute mud hole in Louisiana Monroe. You let P. Ryan do what he does. You let the offensive line feel good. Let the receivers get their catches. Get everybody feeling good going into next week. So it's like us playing to a lesser, similar to our game. They need to just come out and just stomp them. And I think they will. First game at home in their new big stadium with the bowl and the biggest screen in the earth and all that good stuff. I'd actually take them to cover and the under. I figure about 55-7.
Okay. All right. I could go along with that. What do you think, Poke? What do you think?
I think I'd take cover in the over. Monroe gave up 21 points to Southern last week. You don't even know where Southern is on the map. Most of the people watching, they are garbage pretty much. They're gonna get run over.
Yeah. They're going to win. I think they score 60 at least. God, that's tough. I'd almost take them to cover both. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I don't bet. So, since we just discussed OU, this is probably a really good time to segue into commentary discussion about shitting of one's pants. Now,
speaking about shitting your pants.
Yeah, right. Speaking of shitting your pants, we just talked about it. I'm used to that. So,
go ahead.
Mike came up with tweeted out some article last week about people having experiences shitting their pants, and there's a link to an article from Every Day Should Be Saturday blog.
Who, if you're not following, you should be.
Oh my God! That, as I said on Twitter, I can't unread that. Now, I'm going to abstain just a little bit from this because I am actually at a stage of life where there's a reality involved in this. I'm at that point where anytime you feel like you got to push that fart a little bit, you better be careful. Okay? So since you tweeted that out, Mike, you can start the whole discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
With your lifetime experience of
Let me see.
shitting.
Sure. Let me read this paragraph to start off, and then we'll talk about it, okay?
Oh, my God.
I don't know what scared me more, that this happened or that it happened in a manner unlike anything I could have imagined as someone shitting their pants for the first time. Losing control of your ass is so horrifying because it is pretty much rule one of autonomy as a person. The word no is first, and then second comes, as a human walking amongst other humans for hours and hours of the day, I have the self-control to not allow my own waste to come flying willy-nilly out of my port exhaust. It's not just a line in human boundaries, it is the line. When you lose control of your shit, they take your car keys, prop you on a couch, buy you a small sad dog from the pound, and then turn on the Weather Channel until you die. That's how bad shitting your pants is. So, this week's halftime is, do you ever have any embarrassing stories like that one? Possibly related to shitting your pants. I mean, And the sharing. So, sure, if we're going to make this interesting, I'll go first. I was driving back from Kansas. I went to Lawrence last year. And Kansas is a place that doesn't really have anything. It's kind of the most worthless state other than, they grow food there. So about 100 miles since the last time I saw a gas station, I really had to pull over. And I stopped for some Gatorade, and then it happened. I was right there in line, and I felt it. So I ran to the bathroom, and needless to say, gas station attendants don't make enough money. They just don't. There's no way. That pair of boxer shorts I left behind in Kansas along with Travis Ford's dignity.
And his offensive scheme. King,
God.
have you ever had a near miss or?
So, this one's a good one, I guess. This actually happened last summer. I was on an oil rig.
Oh God.
400 miles off the coast of Louisiana. Like, we're deep. We're way out there. And we wear coveralls for our FR. So you can't wear, like, long sleeve and then like jean style FR. They're all coveralls. On top of that, you have to put a harness. Okay? And the harness is in case they need to rescue your ass. Somebody can clip in and drag you up.
Right.
So, and then on top of that, now you got to remember, the food out there sucks. Okay? It's not good. They tell you it's going to be just like on the mainland. They're lying to you. You work 12-hour shifts. You sweat because no matter what kind of sea breeze you have blowing on your face, it's 107 and the humidity is about 108%. So you're drinking a lot of water. Or in my dumbass case, a lot of apple juice. A quart of apple juice.
Oh, no.
Then we're taking measurements, as you do, and I do some of the engineering stuff on that, do some of the electronics. But we get one of our pieces of equipment stuck up in the crow's nest trying to get it down hole. So everything's happy, so I'm in the harness, clip in, 100 feet up in the air, on top, 100 feet above a rig that's 100 feet above the water. And I'm bent over, and I'm working on this, and I feel a gurgle.
Oh, no.
And I think, all right, we're cool. We're cool.
Gurgle. Oh, no.
I felt another one, and I just looked at the dude working with me. I just looked over at him, and I was like, don't look at me. Give me a moment.
Need to collect myself.
Okay, well, hang on, it gets worse.
Oh, God.
This isn't one of those, I almost shit my pants. I did. I had to scream out headache because my shit was raining down on people on the rig. So they had to move to not get shit on by me. Making matters worse, my boss is an asshole and thought it was funny. I had like an hour and a half more to sit there with shit pants while I finished doing what I was doing before they let me come down to go clean up. That was a long day.
That's pretty. That's fairly significant right there. The gurgle. I know exactly what the gurgle is bad.
The gurgle's not good.
Yeah. Robert, you don't have any post-Lillian platter stories you want to share?
I have 2 near misses. I've never had to switch anything out. All right, but I've had 2 really near misses. One was spring break 1981 from Oklahoma State. All right.
I was born 5 years later.
There you go. Back in a time when I was actually in control of my bowels. So we all load up in a car. We drive up to Colorado. We're going to go skiing for spring break. So we get up there. We do our skiing for the week, and we head back. And on our way down, a couple of the guys, and there was I think one girl had gone along for the trip. They decided they wanted to get out and hike up in, the side of a mountain there somewhere, look at a waterfall or something. I don't know what it was. So we all got out and we kind of wandered back up in there. We're back in there about probably half, 3/4 of a mile. And as we started back down, I'm like, oh, okay. all right, well, we got to get back to the car and we'll get someplace where I can take care of business. And I'm I got to say, it's sort of like the dog. When you go out and walk the dog immediately has to take a dump. Well, I'm walking. My body was like, yeah, we're ready to go. I was having to stop probably every 50 yards, 100 yards. I'm walking along and I'd stop and I'd kind of bend over and kind of try to hold my breath and get, stave off the onslaught. So we finally make it back to the car, and maybe it was 20 minutes, felt like an hour. And we get in the car, and I'm in agony in the back seat. If that happened to me today, it'd be over with. I'm in agony in the back seat. I said, I don't care. You got to find the first place you can find that might have a bathroom. And they finally found like a restaurant or gas station. I don't know what it was. And I ran in there, and I swear to God, I gave birth to a football. I'm not kidding you. I thought that this was going to be like my wife giving, but I was going to need an epidural. I thought I was going to need an epidural. But the second one actually happened to me this week. So my job a lot of times, I'm sitting around a table and I'm training people. I've got my laptop going. Something's projected up on the wall, and I'm flying along. And they were very nice. Brought in lunch, and I had a ham and cheese with lettuce and tomato sandwich. Scarfed that down. About an hour, not just drinking water, nothing crazy. About an hour after that, I felt the gurgle.
Oh God.
And I'm thinking, all right, it's okay, it's all right. I go another, 5-10 minutes, and now it's starting to grind around down there. I'm getting them This is number one, it's uncomfortable, and number two, this is that moment now in my life where, you think, well, if I just let this go, just rip a good fart right here,
it clears it up.
I'll feel better. No. If I'd have done that then, I'd have been changing my britches.
Right.
So I just find, and I'm squirming around in my chair, and I'm trying to be kind of natural and cool about it, but I'm moving around in the chair, and I finally kind of get to a stopping point. And excuse me, I need to step out for a second. Where's the bathroom? And out the door I go, into the bathroom. I was in there long enough that the main guy, the president of the company who was in the meeting, came to check to make sure I was okay in the bathroom. And when I came back in, I obviously came back in so relaxed, and so I can't. One of the other guy, there was a warehouse guy there, and he made some comment about, well, that must have worked out all right. You seem pretty relaxed now. So that's as close as that. Listen, like I said, I'm in that stage of life where I'm not gonna make too much fun of it because I'm one slip away from wearing Depends probably. So
I will tweet out that shit your pants article because it's the funniest thing I've ever read.
I died reading that. Man.
I still can't get through reading it all without cracking up. Like I almost lost it during that one paragraph that I read.
Tweet that back out. So there's our in honor of OU shitting themselves last weekend. We have the stories of have you ever shit your pants on Cowboys Ride for Free, picks from Joe's, which has reached a new low in broadcasting journalism, if that's what you could call it. On to our games. What do we got left here? Oh, Texas. So we could chat a little bit about Texas here. Have they actually found something? They really find something, or just because they beat who the hell, they beat OU last year. OU's not a bomb. They beat Baylor at the end of the season. Baylor went on to win a bowl game and run for like 8,000 yards against North Carolina. So, if they really, you think they found something here? King, what do you, honest to goodness, what do you think about this?
I think they probably have, but at the same time, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every now and again. No, they look like for the first time they had, they brought in a guy from Tulsa. They look like they had, no matter what's going to happen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to live. They found something and went with it. Whereas in the past few years, they've just especially the last few years of the Mac Brown era, he'd bring in anybody. Like when Manny Diaz showed up for the defense, that was a disaster. But he would just constantly trying something. And this one, it's like, this dude over here is our number one. We got a Belldozer package from a man over here because he's been working hard for the program for a bunch of years, and we're just going to do our offense. And say what you want about their defense because I still think people forget it's like they gave up like 50 points at home, but still, I think they look competent for the first time in a few years, which is terrifying to me because I'd enjoyed penciling them in as W's.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think there, Pokelahoma? Are they really turning a corner, or is this just another little blip?
I think they're turning a corner. I think they got too much credit for one win, though, because if that would have happened to if anybody else would have done that, or if many teams would have done that to number 10 Notre Dame, the narrative would have been number 10 Notre Dame is overrated or not good. Instead, because it's Texas and in Austin and all that stuff, all we hear about is Texas is back. Bouchard looked great. I think they probably are going to run into some depth issues this year. Burt looks like he's going to catch every other one, but I think they're on the right track. I was at that OU game last year, and they didn't look anything like this. So,
what do you think about the narrative that we need Texas to be competent in the Big 12?
Unless they're willing to give up their third-party rights, I honestly don't think we'll have a Big 12 in 4 years. I still think that OU and OSU will end up in the SEC, and if they're not without a conference network, the conference doesn't have a future. And Texas getting back will just reinforce to them that they can make the Longhorn network work. So, unless a philosophical change happens at the administration, Texas can do whatever they want. It'll be good for a little while, but I still don't think the conference will have a future past 4 years. So I just prefer they go ahead and suck so we can get them wins.
Yeah, Notre Dame's a decent team. That kid, what the heck's his name?
Zaire,
something. Whatever.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. They of course Notre Dame dicked around, back and forth when they shouldn't have with the quarterback there for some series. But when he was Caesar, he was clearly the better option. But
right.
And it's okay. It's at Texas. They were fired up. They got the speech from Matthew McConaughey before the game. He got them all fired up. So, my greatest fear is that freshman can throw the ball.
He can sling it.
And that, I'm telling you right now, that bothers me more than anything because they don't necessarily. That's the whole bulldozer. What do they call it? The 18-wheeler at Texas. That's a tough package. That's he runs that well. It's a little bit tough to defend. Depending on what they do with it. But if that's all they're doing, you can deal with it. But if they're trotting out, they've got two just huge running back, Foreman and who's the other one? Foreman and the other guy, they're huge. Offensive line is pretty good size. So if that kid gets comfortable and starts slowing the ball around, that's they're a problem. They'll definitely be an issue, and playing them down there will be even tougher if they've got if they've got the fans excited and they're into it.
The biggest wine and cheese crowd, though. Sorry to interrupt, but that's the biggest wine and cheese crowd. Have you ever been down there for a ball game?
It's quiet. Oh my God, it's quiet.
No, it's so much about being seen and sitting on your hands, and I've never seen that many people make that little noise.
Wow.
It's not scary at all.
I do think, as much as I think they look pretty good, you still got to remember Notre Dame suspended about half their starters about 3 days before the game.
Right.
So,
yep. Well, it'll be interesting. So they've got UTEP is coming in, 7 o'clock Eastern, Saturday night. Texas is laying 30, and the over-under's 59. So interesting numbers. I can't remember what UTEP did. What did they do here? UTEP. Where are you? Here you are. UTEP's 1-0. The Miners, and they beat. They had their rivalry game, New Mexico State, which they won 38-22. So, yeah, who knows? We'll see what they do this week. What else we got here? Let me look because I didn't get this one written down. We've got
Iowa and Iowa State and us.
So we've got Iowa State at Iowa, and I actually got a Hawkeye in my mentions this week. who, you think we can talk bad about OU? I mean, this guy was straight up vulgar talking about.
There's not shit to do in Iowa but football and meth.
It was this guy.
You ever been to Guthrie?
Downright nasty. Not to me. He wasn't nasty to me.
You leave the Blue Jays alone.
He was talking nasty to, about Iowa State. Iowa State, new coach. Everybody's excited. They got all kinds of excitement, and they look like absolute hot garbage.
Yep.
Against Northern Iowa, who's not a bad FCS team. They're generally a pretty good team, and have beaten them in the past. And now they're going up to Iowa, and so let's see, what do we got here? They're going to Iowa on the road. What time? At 7:30. Game's going to be on the Big Ten Network, which is almost as good a place to hide as the Longhorn Network. And what do they got? They're getting 15 points, which doesn't feel like it could be enough, but maybe Iowa's going to stink it up. Over-under's 51, I think, could be a little high for these two. Wow. Almost 1,000 tickets available, but they're starting at $116. That's the most expensive, if I look through the list, yeah. That's the most expensive StubHub ticket available for a Big 12 team playing this week. So there must be something to go see there. Is this one of these deals do we like Iowa State's hire, head coaching hire, and is this just going to be a write-off season, or are they going to actually wake up and show up at some point?
This may answer your question about how I feel about their hire. Who did they hire?
I believe, to be the truly informative, in-depth show that we are, they hired some dude who was coaching Toledo.
Okay.
Yeah, Toledo. That's it. Toledo.
Yeah.
So.
In Ohio.
All right. So Iowa wins by what? 30? I'll go 30.
You go 30.
37-7, something like that.
Oh, I'd have to say if they, I would enjoy that just to go listen to see the comments on a game thread on Wide Right Natty Light, because they'll bathe in the agony. That'll be special. I'm not even
better than we do.
Mike,
Yeah, right. Mike, you're not even allowed to comment about this game.
No. I'm ready to go. Hey, you know what? He won 9 games 2 years in a row. The last 2 years, Matt Campbell did at Toledo. And there's a reason SB Nation calls this game El Asico, because you really don't know. Everyone's going to play like shit. After last week, I'm going to assume they have a good coach. What's his name in Iowa just got a $50 million extension or something, so I actually think Iowa State's going to cover.
Kirk Ferentz, that guy.
Wait. So they gave him a worse contract than the one he was already the worst contract in football.
Oh yeah, then they extended it again. He's out to like 2030 or something.
Cool. All right. Makes Travis Ford seem like nothing.
Yeah, right.
Stop saying that word.
You're gonna miss him by the end of the season.
Whatever.
No.
We'll talk about that come basketball season.
Let me tell you.
Follows me on Twitter. He's great.
All right, Saturday night, because we're all going to stay up to watch this. Saturday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Texas Tech at Arizona State. All right, Arizona is laying 2.5. The over-under is almost 80, 79.5. Almost 1,400 tickets available on StubHub, starting at $30. Forecast is for 103. Oh, Cam Newton is down. He is down on all fours and not moving quick.
Whoa, let's not be graphic.
We were talking about shit and pants here. Oh, he got top and bottomed. Ooh, what a shot.
I just told you to stop that.
Ooh. Oh, God, they're showing that replay. That's one of these now they're showing the replays like, ouch. Stop showing the replay.
That's my
Texas
fantasy
Tech,
quarterback. Should I go cry?
Texas Tech, go ahead, King.
Newton's my fantasy quarterback. Do I need to go cry?
Yeah, you're done.
He's up. He's up. He's moving around. He's gotten banged up a little bit this game. He's taken some pretty solid hits. So oh boy! After the shot, he was laying there. I thought, when I first saw it, I said, "Oh my God, he's not getting up." And they're going to nail Denver, I think, for a personal foul shot on the quarterback here. So Texas Tech actually blew out Stephen F. Austin this year, as opposed to almost losing to them. Going to Arizona, every year has Texas Tech finally figured out how to play defense. Of course, they were all yapping about their defense after throttling Stephen F. Austin, of all teams. I have to say I like their quarterback, Mahomes. Have always liked him. What do you think? If they think they pull off a minor upset out in the desert, Mike?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mahomes is going to be the best player on the football field. He's going to throw for 400 yards. I still take the under just because it's week 2. But they'll cover against Arizona State for sure. They'll beat Arizona State.
King, what do you think about Taco Tech?
Well, have we stolen any traditions from them recently?
No, we're actually winning now.
Oh, okay. Well, I suspect they'll probably win, and then we can steal that too. And but we never stole the STD thing. We let them have that.
Yeah, I don't think we need to steal that, do we?
Yeah, Lubbock's where you go to get what was it? Herpes? Yeah, herpes.
There it
Lubbock's
is.
home of herpes, and probably Whataburger too.
I have to say, there's a couple of Tech people that are pretty good with this. There's every once in a while there's a couple of folks that are heavy in my timeline. Usually they'll get a little in a back and forth with Tech folks about who stole what, and they're pretty good with it. Nobody gets ugly about it. They got a pretty good sense of humor about it. But that's usually pretty funny when it happens. I'd kind of like to see Tech win the game. I mean, there is an extent to which, even if in the short term the goal is college football playoff, teams in the conference playing well, make that not an easier opportunity necessarily, but definitely help out. So I'm all for that. I like Kingsbury as the coach. So I think Tech wins that game, and it's pretty much a straight-up game anyway. So last but not least, our Cowboys, who took care of business against the Savannah State on steroids last week, if you could say that. Getting the back end of the home and home, getting Central Michigan and Stillwater. We recall last year that was our opener on the road, and wasn't the easiest of affairs. Game was pretty uncomfortable for most of the night until it was pretty close to the end. They've got a really good quarterback in Cooper Rush. Gundy has said numerous occasions he thinks the guy is an NFL talent. They got running back. Of course, they played. The only thing about this that gives me some comfort, they blew out a team last week whose nickname is the Blue Hose. The Blue Hose. And I ain't talking about hose.
Presbyterian last week.
Yes. Whose nickname is the Blue Hose because historically it started out as the Blue Stockings, but with football, unlike baseball, you wouldn't want to be the Blue Sox because that doesn't sound fierce enough. So somehow somebody decided that Blue Hose sounded more fierce than Blue Stockings.
I don't understand.
Oh, I believe me, I did research on that now because I couldn't imagine. I was like, blue hose. What the hell is blue hose? Why would a blue hose? I'm thinking of like a garden hose. What the hell would a blue hose have to do with anything? So Central Michigan blew them out 49 to, I don't know, 3 or 7 or something. And so OSU had Cowboys had the running back rotation going. Defense looked okay. Should have dominated. Offensive line, jury is still out. Although I got to say, all right, and you guys obviously chime in on this. I watched that game back, just the parts where the first teamers were in. And I actually felt like it was the first time in a couple of years where on any kind of a consistent basis, running backs were finding their way to open field without having to dance around in the backfield too much. On top of the fact that it felt like your running backs, a couple of them anyway, actually had some vision and showed off their avoidance skills. So, Mike, what are your thoughts about the line and the running game going into this week? How comfortable are you with this week?
Offensive line, I feel like, is hard to judge because it's a unit, obviously, where one guy screws up and everybody will end up looking bad. It's not like Des Bryant can save the wide receiving class. You can have a world-class center, and if the guy next to him sucks, he's still going to look. The offensive line's still going to look bad. I don't expect to see noticeable, significant improvement till mid-October, maybe probably about another month. We looked real thin. The first team looked okay, in my opinion. They didn't move people out of the way like I was hoping they would for the opponent that we played. The second team blocked a lot of air, it looked like. We're still learning the playbook on the second team, I think, and that's fine. That kind of stuff takes a while. I do feel like they're trending in the right direction, though.
Yeah, second team I thought looked better near the end of the game.
Right.
That one drive towards the end of the game when Cornelius was back in at quarterback, and they actually had a kind of a long, sustained drive where they ended up scoring a touchdown.
I think we have a real offensive line coach 2 years in a row.
Right. So, I mean, comfort level wise, where are you with this game?
Oh, this game we're gonna win this game. I think we're overall better than we were last year.
Yeah. OSU's laying toward the line right now on ESPN was 20.5.
Ooh, 20.5. Was 11 last year. Last year was a wake-up call. 20. Yeah, let's go OSU covers.
Yeah, over under 61 feels. I think if OSU is going to play well, that feels low. Although offensively, I think I really think Central Michigan will be able to move the ball around a bit. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them score 14 or 17 points at least.
Yeah, no, the over sounds healthy. I can't imagine anybody's going to have too much trouble. I think our defensive tackles are much better, so hopefully we'll make them one-dimensional, but who knows?
King, what are you feeling about this week?
Oh, man, I'm looking up here at some of the stats, and I really wish a single running back could have got more than was our leader, 42 yards on 6 carries. I didn't see the offensive line look better, but they weren't moving anybody. What I think made it look better was the running backs were actually finishing runs and giving a shit.
Right.
There were so many times they'd get the ball, there would either be no hole or not much of a hole, and they just said, you could tell, they're like, screw it. And this year with so many of them, and it's like, last year we had Childs and Carson. It's like, you're going to get half the carries, I'm going to get half the carries. Whatever. Now there's enough of them that it's like, if you want to see the field for the remainder of the year, you better put out some effort. So I like seeing the running back effort, receiving core. I think they're going to be really good. first game getting on the same page. I think our pass blocking looked pretty good. I just didn't see us blowing anybody off the ball, and when you consider that they have athletes of my caliber playing for Southeast Louisiana, that's just not what I wanted to see.
Hey.
I'm hopeful that the team is, remembers last year. I'm glad it happened last year, and a lot of the team's still there.
Right.
We look like crap against Central Michigan.
Yep.
If we come out and cover and can rush for a combined 150 yards, I will feel really, really good going forward. If we rush, win, lose, or whatever, if we rush for less than 100 on any kind of attempted, more than 20 carries, that's just bad. And I think this is a really good. I do like how our schedule sets up this year. Joke game first, decent second game. Pittsburgh ought to be they're obviously not Baylor, but they're a hell of a warm-up going into Baylor. So I just like what I want to see is improvement. I don't think there's any way we lose a game at home.
Right.
Beat the team last year, I agree. I think we're better overall this year. But if we can't start rushing for 100+ against real teams,
right,
then they're just going to drop 8 into coverage, and then we'll get 3-man rush coverage sacks all season, and it'll be freaking miserable again. So.
Yeah,
I think for this game we're fine. I'd see us covering at a minimum the spread. The over, I don't know about if the defense plays like the defense can play. I think we could hold them under 20. I think we score around 30. So maybe something 14-35, somewhere in there. And that wouldn't quite get you there, so but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I would like to see one of the running backs really start to separate themselves. It's going to be hard to do if he's not, if Gundy's running them in and out.
Keep them fresh.
Well, I'll say
They finished more runs last week than they did all last season. King's right.
Right. That is correct.
Last season.
And think about this. The guy who was the leading rusher was actually the guy who was initially left off the depth chart when they released it, over a week ago.
Yeah.
They left Jeff Carr off of the or this, the or, and they ran out of ors when they got to Jeff Carr, so he wasn't even on the depth chart. And Gundy brought it up during his pregame presser. And he ends up being their leading rusher. I will say this, between Carr and Hill, and even Barry J, you've got 3 guys right there that are all about avoidance. With the one exception that Barry J played football with Stanford, who's an extremely physical team, so he's not afraid to run into somebody and try to run over them. But he does have the skill set of avoidance, which I thought Hill looked pretty neat when he had a couple of runs where he avoided the lack of a hole in the line and got outside, which we didn't have enough of that last year. So I'm with you, King. I got to see 150 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I got to see 150 yards rushing. If I'm seeing that 100 yards, 90 yards, 110 yards, whatever, that's not good. They've got to be able on a decent name. You can't have 150 yards on 40 carries, 45 carries.
It's got to be over 40 yards a carry.
Yeah, you gotta have 30, 31, 32 carries, 100 yards. That 3.2 yards per carry is not going to get it done. I'm feeling like the line is going to be tough, but I feel like I would almost want to go the over, but OSU might not cover. I feel like Central Michigan's going to move the ball around a little bit, and they could very easily score 14, 17, 20 points in the game. Meaning Oklahoma State's got to they got to put 40+ on
right
to cover. So we're all feeling like OSU should win the game.
Yeah.
Fairly comfortable with winning the game. After that, there's really only one thing left to kind of wind this broadcast up with. And I can't remember exactly how you put the question.
Well, I need to go an audible here, okay?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This just came across my timeline, okay? So I'll read it to you here, and then we'll talk about it. Child at Alice Springs St. Philip's College sought permission to wear costume and won a prize for best dressed. Okay? The headline is, Principal regrets allowing student to dress up as Hitler for book week. So the question is, either do you have any Halloween mistakes that you want to talk about? Do you have any costume mistakes that you would like to talk about? Or in the case of this teacher, do you have any professional embarrassments that you want to admit to? I guess other than shitting your pants in the middle of the ocean.
Wait, what was that last part?
I said, like the teacher who let a kid dress as Hitler, do you have any professional embarrassments? You don't have to use names or anything. I just
a professional embarrassment or a costume fan. I've always been a little conservative with the costumes, although I did go as a pimp last year, a 1980s pimp with the cane and the hat and everything, and I just thought it was kind of lousy. It didn't work. But I haven't had any big costume faux pas. But of course, I'm not hanging around with too many politically correct crowds. So I could show up about anything and it wouldn't bother anybody. Professional. I don't know about professional. I can't say that I've had.
We can all agree that Hitler costume is a bad idea, though, right?
Well, see,
yes.
this is my. Oh, here we go. So now I'm going to get everybody in trouble. Here's my problem with this.
We can edit it out, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, I'll edit it out. Yeah, sure. Whatever you. Yeah, you believe that. Here's my problem with that. If you're doing a thing where you're going to allow the students to dress up for a book report week, and the student is doing a book report about Hitler, what are you going to ban kids from reading, about an individual, about that person? So if you're going to tell them dress up for book report week, the kid's doing a book report on Hitler, so the kid shows up dressed as Hitler. Now, I honestly, personally, don't have a problem with that.
That's fair.
They weren't showing up to walk around they aren't goose stepping, they're not saluting. There was a very logical, reasonable situation where the kid shows up dressed as Hitler. To me, that's no different than if you were doing a play about World War II and you had somebody in the play who dresses up as Hitler. That's, it's a part of a display that's representative of a task or something like that. So it wasn't a display with any intent of offending anybody,
right,
or anything like that. So that's one of the problems I've got with all this stuff. There's too much. You can be sensitive. Here you go, folks. I'm an okay guy. I have plenty of compassion for everybody in the world. As you heard me earlier in this, I don't discriminate. If you're stupid and want to eat chicken fried steak, but you don't want to eat chicken, go order country fried steak. I'm okay with it. All right, but there's a line between sensitivity and being ridiculous. And if that kid showed up dressed as Hitler because that was the book report they were doing, honest to goodness, if I was the principal, I'd have got fired, because the first mother or father that came and complained about it, I'd say you need to go home, put on your big boy and your big girl pants, and then come back and we can have a conversation about it.
Fair enough.
that's kind of where I am. I can imagine I mean, I've got a 10-year-old kid that's doing stuff like this, so I can imagine the absolute shitstorm that occurred when the kid showed up dressed as Hitler. That I can't even begin to imagine. I can't even begin to imagine that thing. I have to say, I've been fortunate. I haven't had any bad costume fails, and I haven't had any real bad professional gaffes. Although I think once, while I was a golf professional, it wasn't actually a professional decision. I got a little too banged up, and I had to take the train home from the golf course, and I ended up throwing up on the train. So that's about as close. I think about as close as I got to something like that. So I'm now, and you two, much younger gentlemen than me, you probably remember some fun activities. So you can feel free to share if you have them.
I wish I did. I just wanted to hear you say you dressed up as Hitler one time. But I don't have any Halloween stories, unfortunately.
There you go. We're boring people. We've not lived enough excitement in our lives. So
right.
That's going to be a wrap for week 2. Picks from Joe's. For all of those who have stayed in and endured the agony and the intelligence, thank you very much, guys, for hopping in. Thank you for tolerating the fact that I screwed it up last week because of work. And just FYI, because some of this does get impacted by my work schedule. They're going to be this is an odd travel week for me, but most of my travel weeks I'm actually traveling on Thursday nights. So weeks that I'm on the road, we're probably going to be doing this on Wednesday nights, and then the weeks that I'm working from home, we'll then probably switch back to Thursday nights. But thanks to Mike, Pokelahoma. Thanks to King for making an appearance. Hopefully he'll be with us most, if not all, of the season. This is his baby. For those folks that don't know, this was his baby that he started, and so it's like you're like the grandfathered. We're gonna have to build you a statue, King. That's it. If Robert Griffin III can have a statue, King should have a statue for Picks from Joe's. Out in front of Eskimo Joe's.
That's fair.
All right, everybody, enjoy. If you're traveling around, going to the game this weekend, travel safe. Go Pokes. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks again, guys.
Good night.